The clinking of silver against my mother's fine china should be soothing, the sound of family tradition, but tonight it sets my teeth on edge. I sit between Beckett and Sutton at the long mahogany table, pushing roasted Brussels sprouts around my plate, while Aunt Margaret drones on about her cruise to the Bahamas. Beckett's flannel shirt still has faint traces of drywall dust on the collar, and his work boots are scuffed beneath the table. He catches me, looking, and gives me that small private smile that says he'd rather be anywhere else. Then my mother's manicured hands press flat against the table. The room goes silent. Even Aunt Margaret stops mid-sentence about snorkeling. Before we have dessert, Mom says, her voice bright and practiced, "Nicholas and I have an announcement about Sutton's wedding." My fork pauses halfway to my mouth. Sutton sits up straighter, her Instagram-ready smile already in place. "You know how much we adore both our daughters," Mom continues, and my stomach tightens at the qualifier. Nothing good ever follows that phrase. "And we believe in supporting family dreams." Dad clears his throat, straightening his tie. "Delilah and I have secured the February 20th opening at the Aspen Resort for Sutton and Tripp's wedding." Sutton squeals, actual squealing. Tripp pumps his fist like he just won something. I set down my fork carefully. The Aspen Resort. That venue costs more than I make in a year. A celebrity couple canceled last minute. Mom says, beaming, "It's a once-in-a-lifetime influencer opportunity. The exposure alone is worth—" "How are you paying for it?" The question comes out sharper than I intended. Mom's smile doesn't falter. "Well, that's the thing, sweetheart. We accessed your trust fund, $48,000. It covered the deposit, and most of the rest of her words turn into white noise. My trust fund. The one my grandmother left me. The one that transfers to my full control in 3 weeks when I turn 30. You what? My voice sounds distant, like it belongs to someone else. Now, Isa, don't make that face. Dad's tone carries a warning. Your mother and I are still the trustees until your birthday. We have every legal right to— Did you just admit to felony embezzlement in front of witnesses? Beckett's voice cuts through the room like a blade through ice. He hasn't raised his voice. He doesn't need to. Every head turns toward him. Dad's face reens. He looks at Beckett's dusty shirt, his calloused hands, those scuffed boots. Then he laughs. Actually laughs. "Felony, listen, son. I know you're used to bricklaying money, but in the real world, parents manage their children's assets all the time. Maybe if you made more than minimum wage, Isa wouldn't need family support." Dad. The word scrapes out of my throat. Beckett sets down his water glass with deliberate care. "You have 72 hours to return the principal plus interest. If you don't, Sutton's wedding becomes a funeral for this family's reputation." Tripp snorts from across the table, his phone already out filming. "Bro, what are you going to do, sue them? With what lawyer I tried Googling you, man?" Beckett Sterling, nothing. No LinkedIn, no Facebook. You're a ghost. In 2024, if you're not online, you're nobody. Public defender gonna squeeze you in between his drug cases. I grab Beckett's arm before he can respond. His muscles are rigid beneath my fingers. Kitchen now. He follows me, and I don't miss the smug look Dad exchanges with Tripp as we leave. The kitchen still smells like turkey and sage. I lean against the counter, my hands shaking. Beckett stands near the doorway, watching me with those calm gray eyes that never seem ruffled by anything. They stole from me. The words come out hollow. My grandmother left me that money so I could buy a house, start a life. And I know I'm 29 years and 11 months old, Beckett. 11 months. In 3 weeks, that money would have been completely mine. And they knew it. They timed this. He crosses to me in 2 strides and pulls me against his chest. I can smell sawdust and soap in him. For a moment, I let myself break just a little. When I was 16, they made me pay my own college tuition while Sutton got a brand new Lexus. I whisper into his shirt. When I was 22, I bailed her out of $3,000 in credit card debt because Mom said she was fragile, that she needed support. I'm always the fixer, the responsible one, the strong one who doesn't need help. You're also the one they underestimate. Beckett pulls back to look at me, which is going to be their biggest mistake. Before I can ask what he means, Mom appears in the doorway. "Isa, honey, come back to the table." "You're embarrassing yourself." I straight and turn to face her. She's wearing her patient smile, the one that says she's the adult, and I'm the child throwing a tantrum. Embarrassing myself. Something inside me cracks, not breaks. Cracks like ice before it shatters. "You stole $48,000 from me. We borrowed it, sweetheart. For family. Sutton is fragile. She needs this spotlight to thrive. You're a survivor. You'll make more money. This is about supporting your sister when she..." "No." Mom blinks. "Excuse me. No, this isn't about survival. This isn't about support. This is theft." Her face hardens. "Don't you dare speak to me that way. After everything we've done for you, name one thing." The kitchen goes silent. I can hear voices from the dining room. Aunt Margaret asking if everything is all right. Mom's jaw tightens. "You have until dessert to apologize and come back to this table like a grateful daughter. Otherwise, you can leave." She turns and walks away, her heels clicking against the hardwood. Beckett touches my shoulder. "We should go." "Wait." I grab my purse from the counter and pull out my phone. My hands are steadier now. If they want to play this game, they're going to regret it. Back in the dining room, everyone stares as we gather our coats. Sutton has tears in her eyes, the performance kind that look good on camera. Dad won't even look at me. Tripp is still filming, smirking. I stop at the doorway and look back at my family. My whole life I've been invisible to them unless they needed something fixed. Not anymore. 72 hours, I say quietly. Enjoy your turkey. The door closes behind us with a soft click that sounds like a gunshot. Monday morning, I call the trust administrator before my shift starts. My hands shake as I dial. Coffee going cold on my kitchen counter. Beckett left an hour ago for a job site, kissing my forehead and telling me to breathe. I can't breathe. Not until I know how bad this actually is. "Miss Cook, let me pull up your account." The administrator's voice is professionally neutral, the kind that gives nothing away. I hear typing. Then silence. Then more typing. Is there a problem? I'm seeing some unusual activity. "Can you hold, please?" The hold music is classical. Something with violins that makes my teeth ache. I pace my small living room, past the second-hand couch. Beckett reupholstered last spring, past the bookshelf we found at an estate sale. Everything here we built ourselves. Nothing handed to us. Miss Cook, a different voice now. Older, careful. "This is Gerald Hutchkins, senior trustee. I need to ask you a question. Did you sign a verbal consent memo 2 months ago authorizing a $48,000 transfer to Sutton Marie Cook?" My stomach drops. No, I was afraid of that. Papers rustle. The documentation is dated September 15th. It claims you verbally agreed to gift the funds to your sister for wedding expenses and that you'd formalize it in writing before your 30th birthday. I never said that. I didn't even know about Sutton's engagement until October. More rustling. "Miss Cook, I'm looking at the transfer log right now. This wasn't impulsive. Someone accessed the account 3 separate times over 6 weeks, moving funds in increments to avoid triggering our large withdrawal alerts. They knew exactly what they were doing. I sink onto the couch, premeditated, not a desperate grab in a moment of weakness. They planned this. Can you email me everything, every document, every transfer record, every piece of paper with my name on it? I'll send it within the hour. Miss Cook, I have to tell you this doesn't look good. If that consent memo is forged, we're talking about fraud, criminal fraud. I end the call and stare at my phone. The screen shows 7:53 a.m. In 7 minutes, I'm supposed to clock in at the warehouse, manage shipments, fix other people's logistics problems. But I can't move. My parents didn't just steal from me. They framed it as my choice. The email arrives at 8:47 a.m. I'm late for work, but I don't care. I download every attachment in the bathroom stall, hands trembling so hard I nearly dropped my phone twice. The verbal consent memo is typed on official letterhead. It describes a conversation that never happened, quotes words I never said. At the bottom, in neat typescript, verbal consent recorded by Delilah Cook Co-Rusty. The 15th of September, 2024, I photograph every page twice. Then I back them up to 3 different cloud accounts. My phone buzzes, email from Dad. Subject, reality checka. Your mother is very upset by your behavior on Thanksgiving, ungrateful daughters who sue their parents. Don't appear in wills, we've given you everything, and this is how you pay us. Choose wisely. Your inheritance depends on it. Dad. I read it 3 times. Then I forward it to my personal email with the subject line evidence. Tuesday morning, my boss Karen pulls me into her office. She's 50-some fair, the kind of manager who remembers your birthday. Right now, she looks uncomfortable. Isla, I got a strange call yesterday. My chest tightens. From who a man named Trip Johnson said he's your future brother-in-law. He was very concerned about you. She pauses. He said you're going through a mental health crisis, that you're harassing his fiancée and making threats, that your family is worried you might be unstable. The floor tilts. That's not true. I didn't think it was. But Isla, he knew details. Your position here, your schedule, even that you've been taking longer breaks lately. Karen's expression softens. Are you okay? Is something going on? My parents stole $48,000 from my trust fund. I'm hiring a lawyer. Tripp is trying to discredit me before I can. Fight back. Karen exhales slowly. Jesus. Okay, for the record, your job is safe, but if he calls again, I need to document it. HR requires it. Document everything. I say I am. That night alone in my apartment, I make a decision. Not the kind where you weigh pros and cons. The kind that arrives fully formed, inevitable, like recognizing you're already falling. I open my laptop and pull up my savings account, the house fund. $8,216. Every extra shift, every skip dinner, out every birthday where I asked for cash instead of gifts. This was supposed to be my future, my foundation. I transfer $8,000 to my checking account. Then I Google forensic accountants and lawyers who handle trust fund fraud. Martin Webb's website is plain professional. 30 years exposing financial deception. I send him the trust documents at 11:34 p.m. Riley Donovan's site shows a woman in her 60s with steel gray hair and sharp eyes. Family law attorney, specializing in elder abuse and trust disputes. I email her at 11:41 p.m. By Wednesday morning, both have responded. Martin's retainer is $4,000. Riley's is $4,000. I wire the money before I can reconsider. This isn't saving for a future anymore. This is paying for survival now. And Wednesday afternoon, Riley calls. I've reviewed the documents. Mr. Webb forwarded the forged consent memo as sloppy work. Wrong notary stamp. Signature dates that don't match the claimed conversation date. We can prove fraud. How long will it take? I'm sending a formal demand letter today. Certified mail. Signature required. They'll have it by Thursday morning. After that, we wait to see if they're smart enough to settle or stupid enough to fight. Thursday, 10:15 a.m. My phone rings. Dad. I let it go to voicemail. How dare you? How dare you send lawyers after your own parents? You want to destroy this family over money. We'll destroy you first. Everyone will know what kind of daughter you really are. I save the voicemail. Evidence. Thursday, 6:47 p.m. The family group chat explodes. Tripp has posted a photo. Beckett's rusted 1998 Ford F-150 parked next to Tripp's leased BMW. M5. The caption reads, "Maybe if your boyfriend worked harder, you wouldn't need to sue your own parents." 37 family members see it. Aunt Margaret comments, "So sad when jealousy ruins families." Cousin Jennifer adds a crying emoji. I stare at that photo at Beckett's truck with its dented fender and faded paint. Tripp thinks he's humiliating us. He has no idea what he's looking at. I screenshot the post. Then I screenshot every comment. I don't delete the app. I don't respond. I just add it to the folder labeled Evidence and wait. Saturday morning, I wake to my phone vibrating like it's having a seizure. 37. Notifications. 42. 56. I grab it from the nightstand, squinting at the screen. Text messages, voicemails, Instagram tags, Facebook comments. The barrage makes my stomach clench. Before I even read the first one, Sutton posted something. Of course she did. I tap the Instagram notification with shaking fingers. There she is, my baby sister, filmed in perfect morning light, streaming through gauzy curtains. Her eyes are red-rimmed and glassy. Her voice breaks on every third word. I don't usually get this personal, she says to the camera, dabbing at her nose with a tissue, but I need to be real with you guys right now. A shaky breath. There's someone in my family who's trying to sabotage my wedding, someone who's supposed to love me. Her chin trembles. I won't say who, because I'm not that person, but they're suing my parents over money over my dream day, and I can't believe someone could be that jealous, that spiteful. The video has 12,000 views already. The comments are a firing squad. Your strength is inspiring. Family should support each other, not tear each other down. Whoever it is doesn't deserve you, sis. My hands go numb. The phone starts ringing. Aunt Margaret, I decline. Voicemail pings immediately. I don't listen. Another call. Cousin Jennifer, decline. Another voicemail. Then the texts start pouring in faster. Aunt Margaret, how could you do this to your sister? She's been planning this wedding for months. Cousin Jennifer, your parents sacrificed everything for you, and this is how you repay them. Uncle Tom, this is embarrassing for the whole family. Drop the lawsuit. I sit on the edge of my bed, still in Beckett's old t-shirt, watching my phone light up like a slot machine. Each message lands like a physical blow. These people have known me my entire life. They watched me graduate college debtree because I worked 3 jobs. They saw me bail Sutton out of that credit card disaster. They know who I am, but none of that matters now. Sutton cried on camera. So I'm the villain. My phone rings again. Mom this time. I stare at her name on the screen, my thumb hovering over the answer button. The call goes to voicemail. 10 seconds later, a text. Mom, I hope you're happy. You've turned this family against itself. Sutton is devastated. Was the money really worth destroying your sister's happiness? Something cold settles in my chest. Not anger, not even hurt anymore. Just a kind of hollow clarity. They're never going to stop. Even if I dropped the lawsuit right now, walked away from every penny, they'd still see me as the problem. The ungrateful daughter, the jealous sister, the one who ruins everything. Beckett finds me an hour later, still sitting there, phone in my lap like a bomb. I'm afraid to sit down. How bad? He asks quietly. I hand him the phone without a word. He scrolls through the messages, his jaw tightening with each one. When he gets to Sutton's video, he watches the whole thing in silence. Get dressed, he says finally. We're leaving. We're away from this. I don't argue. I pull on jeans and a sweater, grab my jacket. Beckett drives his rusted Ford F-150 north, away from the city, away from my apartment where the walls feel like they're closing in. Neither of us speaks. The silence feels safer than words right now. We drive for nearly an hour before he turns onto a narrow gravel road I've never seen before. The truck bounces over potholes and weeds until we reach a clearing at the end of a long driveway. Then I see it. The house looks like something from a Gothic novel someone left out in the rain for a decade. Victorian architecture 3 stories tall, with a wraparound porch that sags on one side. Paint peels in long strips from the clapboard siding. 2 windows on the second floor are cracked spider webbing out from their centers. The yard is 3 acres of overgrown grass and dead bushes. It's a disaster. What is this place, I ask? Beckett kills the engine. I bought the option on it last month. I turn to stare at him. You what? Come on. He gets out of the truck. I follow him through knee-high weeds to the front porch. The steps creak under our weight, and I'm half convinced we're going to fall through, but they hold. Beckett produces a key from his pocket and unlocks the front door. It swings open with a horror movie groan. Inside the house smells like dust and old wood and something faintly floral like dried flowers nobody ever threw away. Afternoon light streams through dirty windows, illuminating particles floating in the air. The entryway opens into a large living room with a stone fireplace buried under layers of grime. Rotted carpet covers what looks like hardwood underneath. "It's broken," Beckett says, softly taking my hand. Like everything feels right now. I look at him. Really look at him. There's something in his eyes I haven't seen before. Not pity, not even sympathy, just understanding. But it has good bones. He continues leading me deeper into the house. He points up at the ceiling. Original crown molding. See, under all that water damage, it's still there. He kneels and peels back a corner of the disgusting carpet. Underneath, dark hardwood gleams faintly. This is probably oak, maybe 100 years old. We move through the house together. He shows me the dining room with its built-in china cabinet, the butler's pantry with original glass front cabinets, the kitchen that needs to be gutted entirely. Upstairs, 5 bedrooms in various states of decay. The master has a bay window overlooking the property, and through the grime I can see the potential. Back downstairs, Beckett takes both my hands and turns me to face him in front of that filthy stone fireplace. "We'll build our own life here," he says. "With or without that money, with or without them." Something inside me shifts, not breaks. Shifts like tectonic plates rearranging themselves deep underground. I've spent 29 years trying to earn a place at my family's pristine Thanksgiving table. Fighting to be seen, to be valued, to be loved the way Sutton is loved. Hoping that if I just fixed enough problems, absorbed enough blame, stayed quiet and competent and useful, they'd finally see me as worth keeping. But standing in this wreck of a house, I realize I don't want that anymore. I want this. This broken Victorian with good bones, this man who sees my value without needing me to prove it. This possibility of peace, even if it comes with peeling paint and cracked windows. "I want this more," I whisper. Beckett pulls me close and I breathe in sawdust and possibility. Say, walk the property as the sun starts sinking lower. 3 acres of dead grass and overgrown brambles and a few trees that might bloom come spring. It's ugly right now, but it's ours. Then Beckett's phone rings. He glances at the screen and something changes in his face. I need to take this. He walks about 20 feet away, turning his back to me. I watch him answer, and his entire posture transforms straighter, sharper. His voice carries across the dead grass, but the tone is completely different from the one I know. "Yes, I've reviewed the acquisition timeline," he says. Crisp and authoritative professional in a way that doesn't match the flannel shirt and work boots. Board approval by Tuesday. Liquidity requirements are covered on our end. A pause. No, the merger won't affect our existing property portfolio. We're expanding, not consolidating. I freeze. Property portfolio. He listens to whoever's on the other end, and I catch fragments. Due diligence completed. Finalize the purchase agreement. Wire transfer authorization. This doesn't sound like a contractor talking to a client. This sounds like something else entirely. Beckett ends the call and stands there for a moment, phone still in his hand, staring out at the treine. When he turns back to me, his expression is unreadable. "Careful. Everything okay?" I ask. He crosses back to me and cups my face in his callous hands. "Trust me," he says quietly. "Let them think they're winning for a few more days." I study his face, the gray eyes that never seem ruffled, the slight tension in his jaw, the way he chooses every word with precision. I'm only now noticing. "What aren't you telling me?" I whisper. "Something that's going to change everything." He kisses my forehead. But not yet. Not until the trap is set. I should press him. Demand answers, but something in his eyes stops me. Not deception strategy. So I nod slowly, trusting what I don't yet understand. As we walk back to his truck, my phone buzzes again. Another message from the family group chat. I don't open it. For the first time in my life, their opinions feel smaller than my own certainty. Whatever Beckett is planning, whatever he's not telling me, I know one thing for sure. I'm done fighting to stay in a family that never wanted me there in the first place. I'm fighting to get out. The 72-hour deadline expires Tuesday at 5 p.m. I watch the clock on my office wall tick past the moment, and nothing happens. No phone call, no wire transfer notification, just silence. Wednesday morning, Riley calls. Her voice carries a tightness I haven't heard before. We have a problem. I'm in my car in the parking garage, eating a protein bar that tastes like cardboard. What kind of problem? Nicholas and Delilah's attorney just sent over their counter evidence. She pauses. It's a screenshot from 5 years ago. A text message you sent to Sutton after what looks like a girl's night out. My stomach drops. What does it say? What's mine is yours, sis. Riley's tone is careful. There's a heart emoji. Their lawyer is arguing this demonstrates a pattern of voluntary gifting, not embezzlement. It complicates our case significantly. The protein bar turns to dust in my mouth. I remember that night Sutton had just broken up with her boyfriend of 3 months and was sobbing about needing new boots to feel better. I'd bought her dinner and told her not to worry about money. That was about a pair of boots, I say. Not $48,000. I know, but it gives them ammunition. A jury might see it as evidence of your intent to share assets freely with your sister. She exhales slowly. Issa, if we proceed to court now, this could drag out 18 months, maybe longer, and there's no guarantee we win. I press my forehead against the steering wheel. The concrete pillar in front of me is gray and cold, and exactly how I feel. What are my options? We can fight, build a stronger case. Depose witnesses, document the pattern of financial abuse, but it'll cost you everything you have left, and the outcome is uncertain. Riley's voice softens. Or you can walk away. Cut your losses. Sometimes the win is just getting out alive. I sit there after she hangs up, head against the steering wheel, looking at my reflection as the rearview mirror. The woman staring back has dark circles under her eyes and defeat written across every line of her face. My phone buzzes. A text from Mom. We're willing to be reasonable. Let's talk. Thursday evening, I call her. My hand shakes as I dial, and I hate myself for it. She answers on the first ring. Issa. Her voice is warm, relieved, triumphant. I'm so glad you're being sensible about this. I can't do this anymore. The words come out small, exhausted. Beckett is across the room watching me with those unreadable gray eyes. I'll sign whatever you want. Mom's relief floods through the phone. Oh, sweetheart. I knew you'd come around. Family is more important than money, isn't it? Your father and I have always said, what do you need me to sign? Well, she clears her throat, and I can hear the calculation in the pause. Sutton's pre-wedding gala is Saturday night at the Mayfield Club, 200 ties, guests. It would mean so much to her if you came and publicly blessed this wedding. Showed everyone that our family is united. My jaw clenches. You want me to sign the waiver in front of 200 people? It's not about humiliation, Issa. It's about family healing. About you being the bigger person the way you've always been. Her voice takes on that syrupy quality I've heard my entire life. You're so strong, so capable. This is your chance to show everyone that grace and maturity. Beckett crosses to me and takes my free hand. His fingers are warm and steady. Fine, I whisper. I'll be there Saturday. Oh, wonderful. I'll text you the details. And Isla, I'm proud of you. This is the daughter I raised. She hangs up before I can respond. I set the phone down and stare at it like it might bite me. Beckett sits beside me on the couch, still holding my hand. I just gave up, I say. I just let them win. He doesn't answer, just squeezes my fingers once. Message I can't quite decode. Friday afternoon, my phone explodes with notifications. Sutton has posted an Instagram story, a close-up of her hand holding Tripp's, both their engagement rings catching the light. The caption reads, "Sometimes love wins. Family first after wins." The comments flood in. "So happy for you. Family is everything. Your sister must be so proud." I'm still staring at it when Beckett's phone buzzes. He glances at the screen and shows me. Tripp's text. "Your girl finally learned her place. Maybe you should too." Beckett deletes it without responding. Then he pulls up something else on his phone and shows me a confirmation email. The Aspen Resort. February 20th. Booking paid in full. $48,000 of my money. Now locked into their dream wedding. They committed everything Beckett says quietly. The venue is non-refundable. I know. My voice is hollow. They won. He looks at me with an expression I can't. Red then goes back to his phone typing something I can't see. Saturday afternoon. I'm in Beckett's truck as he drives us toward the Mayfield Club. I'm wearing a simple black dress that feels like funeral clothes. The waiver document sits in my purse, already reviewed by Riley, already marked with sticky tabs where I need to sign. Are we doing the right thing? The question comes out smaller than I intended. Beckett adjusts his cuff, and I catch a flash of something on his wrist. My breath stops. The watch is vintage, elegant, unmistakably expensive. Patek Philippe, if I'm seeing it correctly. The kind of timepiece that costs more than my father's car. He catches me noticing and covers it smoothly, but not before I see the briefest smile touch his lips. The trap only works if the animal thinks the cage is empty, he says. My pulse quickens. I look at him. Really look at him. The flannel shirt is gone today, replaced by a crisp white button-down and charcoal slacks. His work boots are nowhere in sight. He's wearing Italian leather shoes I've never seen before. Beckett. My voice is barely a whisper. What did you do, trust me? He glances over and his gray eyes are clear and calm and absolutely certain. Let them celebrate. Let them think they've won. Let them commit everything publicly. Lock in that Aspen booking. Maximize the height from which they're about to fall. The defeat I've been carrying for 3 days shifts into something else. Something sharp and waiting. We pull into the Mayfield Club parking lot. Through the windows I can see crystal chandeliers, ice sculptures, designer dresses, 200 witnesses to my supposed surrender. Beckett parks and turns to me. The trap is armed. All we need now is for them to step into it. I look down at the waiver in my purse, then back at him. At that watch worth more than everything I own. At the man who has been playing poor while my family played rich. Who are you? I breathe. He smiles. You'll find out in about 2 hours. Ready, I take his hand. My fingers are steady now. Let's go. Spring the trap. The gala is everything Sutton dreamed about. Crystal chandeliers scatter light across the ballroom like captured stars. Ice sculptures shaped like swans guard the buffet tables, slowly melting into their silver trays. A string quartet plays something classical in the corner. Notes, floating above the murmur of 200 guests in cocktail attire. I stand near the back wall in a simple black dress watching Sutton work the room in designer white. She looks like a bride already, and I suppose that's the point. Every few minutes she touches someone's arm. Laughs at the right moment, poses for photos with her phone held at the perfect angle. Beckett stands beside me silent. He's wearing a suit I've never seen before, charcoal gray with a subtle pinstripe. No drywall dust tonight. His hand rests on the small of my back, steady and warm. You ready? You ready? He asks quietly. I nod, though my throat feels tight. Sutton takes the microphone from the DJ. The quartet stops playing. The room settles into expectant silence. Thank you all so much for coming tonight, Sutton says, her voice bright and practiced. She presses one hand to her heart. This is such a special moment for Tripp and me, and I'm so grateful to have you here to celebrate our journey to the Aspen Resort. Polite applause. Someone whistles. I especially want to thank my parents, Nicholas and Delilah Cook, for their incredible generosity. Sutton's eyes shine with what might be real tears. She's gotten good at this. Their generous gift made my dream wedding possible, and I can't express how blessed I feel. More applause, louder this time. Mom dabs at her eyes with a handkerchief. Dad stands straighter, accepting backslaps from Uncle Tom and Aunt Margaret's husband. And now Sutton continues, her smile widening. I'd like to invite my sister Isa to the stage. 200 faces turn toward me. The weight of their attention makes my skin prickle. I force my feet to move. I leave my clutch on the chair. I won't need it. I cross the polished floor to where Sutton stands in her spotlight. She hugs me, whispers in my ear. Thank you for being reasonable. I pull back and see Dad approaching from the side. He pulls a folded document from his inner jacket pocket along with a gold pen. His smirk is subtle but unmistakable. He's savoring this moment, having the surrender signed in front of everyone. The room watches, waiting for my capitulation, the responsible daughter finally accepting her place. Then Beckett steps forward. He doesn't take the pen. He reaches past Dad and takes the microphone from Sutton's hand. His movement is smooth, confident, not aggressive, just certain. Sutton, he says, his voice pleasant, almost friendly. Could you check your email? Sutton frowns. What, Beckett? This isn't your email. Check it. Something in his tone makes her reach for her phone. The room has gone quiet again, but this silence feels different. Uncertain. I watch Sutton's face as she unlocks her screen, watches her scroll, watches the color drain from her cheeks like water from a broken glass. Why? Her voice comes out small. She looks up at Beckett, then at her phone again. Why is my reservation canceled? I'm sorry. Mom pushes forward through the crowd. What did you say? My reservation. Sutton's voice rises, cracking. The Alta Aspen Resort just sent an email. Our wedding is canceled. She scrolls frantically. They refunded the deposit. All of it. Why is my wedding canceled? The last words come out as a scream. Guests murmur. Someone gasps. Beckett's smile doesn't change. Professional cold because I ordered it canceled. I am the CEO of Sterling Hospitality Group. We acquired the Alta Aspen Resort last week. The room goes completely silent. I stare at him. CEO, Sterling Hospitality Group. The words don't connect to the man who showed me a broken Victorian house, who wears flannel shirts dusty with drywall, who drives a rusted 1998 Ford F-150. Dad finds his voice first. That's impossible. You're a laborer. You don't. Beckett signals toward the back of the room. A screen behind the DJ booth illuminates, flooding the wall with blue light. Documents appear. Transfer agreements. Corporate acquisition papers, and they're enlarged so everyone can read it. The forged trust memo with Mom's signature. While a text message might delay civil proceedings, Beckett says, his voice carrying to every corner of the ballroom, the documented intent to conceal this transfer makes it criminal fraud under our corporate anti-corruption bylaws. He pauses. Lets the words settle. 200 witnesses hearing every syllable. Sutton Cook and Trip Johnson are now blacklisted from every Sterling property globally. That's 137 luxury venues across North America. His voice never rises, never hardens. Just states facts. There will be no wedding at Aspen. There will be no wedding at any comparable venue in this region. You can't. Dad lunges forward. 2 security personnel appear, instantly blocking his path. I didn't even see them enter. They're professionals. Hands raised in calm warning, but their presence is absolute. The ballroom doors open. 3 attorneys in matching navy suits walk in carrying briefcases. They move like a choreographed unit flanking Beckett. The lead attorney steps forward. She's older, gray hair pulled back severely. Mr. and Mrs. Cook, I'm Riley Donovan, lead counsel for Sterling Hospitality Group. We have prepared a criminal filing for fraud regarding the forged documents to be submitted Monday morning. However, Mr. Sterling is willing to treat this as a civil misunderstanding if full restitution is initiated immediately. Total, $60,000. Mom makes a sound like a wounded animal. Nicholas, do something. Dad's face has gone purple. This is insane. You can't just wear her parents. We have rights. You had trustee authority, Riley says calmly. You abused it. The documentation on the screen proves intent to defraud. Your choice is simple. Pay now or explain your actions to a prosecutor. I watch Dad's hands shake as he pulls out his phone. He tries to look defiant, but his fingers fumble on the screen. Mom hovers beside him, whispering frantically. The guests stand frozen. Nobody leaves. This is better than any reality show. Tripp appears at the edge of my vision, moving toward the exit. Nobody stops him. By the time Sutton notices, he's already gone, the door closing softly behind him. She collapses into the nearest chair, mascara streaming down her face in black rivers. Her phone keeps buzzing with notifications, probably Instagram followers wondering where the wedding content went. Dad accesses his mobile banking app. His face is gray now, the purple rage drained away into sick resignation. I see him navigating through screens. Watch his jaw clench as he drains their liquid savings. When that's not enough. He pulls up something else. His emergency home equity line of credit. Mom sees the numbers. Nicholas, no? That's for what choice do we have? His voice is hollow. At 9:47, Dad holds his phone screen toward Riley. Transfer initiated. Priority status. Riley checks her own phone. Checking. I see the pending authorization code. It will clear on Monday. If the funds bounce, the criminal filing proceeds. She turns and walks out. Her team following. The security personnel remain watching Dad with flat professional eyes. I look at Beckett. This man I thought I knew. This man who let my father mock his bricklaying money while wearing a watch worth more than their car. He meets my eyes. Good bones, he says softly. And I understand the Victorian house, the broken thing with potential. He saw me the same way. Worth investing in, worth protecting. Around us, 200 witnesses pull out their phones, already texting, already posting. By morning, everyone will know. The Cook family's perfect facade cracked open in front of everyone who mattered. Sutton sits in her chair, white dress, wrinkled face ruined alone, and I feel nothing. Not anger, not satisfaction, just the quiet certainty that I'm finally free. The lighthouse beam sweeps across the water in its ancient rhythm, steady as a heartbeat. 6 months have passed since the gala, and I stand on the rocky Maine coast, watching 40 people I actually love gather near the keeper's cottage. The wind tugs at my simple cream dress, and I don't smooth it down. There are no photographers here. No performance required. Riley Donovan adjusts her off-efficient stole and grins at me. Ready to make this legal, I nod, and Beckett takes my hand. His calluses catch against my palm. Rough spots from 6 months of sanding floors and pulling down rotten drywall together. Emma, my childhood friend, hands me a bouquet of wildflowers she picked this morning from our overgrown acre. Martin Webb sits beside his husband in the second row, both of them beaming. No Nicholas, no Delilah, no Sutton. The ceremony lasts 12 minutes. Riley keeps it simple, honest. When Beckett kisses me, the waves crash against the rocks below, and I taste salt air and freedom. Later, we drive everyone back to the Victorian house. Our house, the one Beckett called broken, but with good bones. I park in the gravel drive and stare at what we built. Fresh white paint gleams on the porch rails. New windows catch the afternoon sun. The sagging roofline stands straight now, proud. Inside, I pull on my paint-stained work gloves to show guests the crown molding I spent 3 weeks restoring. Each delicate curve stripped and refinished by hand. The stone fireplace we uncovered from behind cheap paneling dominates the living room, its original brick exposed and repointed. Someone asks about the floors, and I dropped to my knees to trace the grain of the oak we sanded ourselves. Beckett running the heavy machine while I followed with Stain. How much of the trust fund went into this? Emma asks quietly. $20,000. The rest sits in an account labeled ours. No parents, no trustees, no conditions. She squeezes my shoulder, understanding everything I don't say. I'm still the fixer, but now I fix foundations. I choose not facades built on lies. Monday morning arrives too, soon. In Miami Beach, Sutton approaches a boutique hotel reception desk, dragging her Louis Vuitton luggage behind her. She's tanned, exhausted from posting healing journey content that gets fewer likes each week. The young clerk types her name, frowns, types again. I'm sorry, Miss Cook. Your ID is flagged in the Sterling Partner Alliance network as a financial liability. Our system won't allow check-in. Sutton's voice rises. That's impossible. Run it again. The clerk runs it again. Same result. I need to see your manager now. The manager arrives, reviews the screen, and nods to security. Ma'am, you'll need to leave the property. Sutton is escorted out while confused tourists watch. She tries 3 more hotels that day. The result is always the same. Back in Maine, I sit on our porch at Sunset Coffee, warming my hands. The ocean stretches dark and endless before me. My phone buzzes. A text from Delilah. Please, we need to talk. I'm sorry. I read it. Feel nothing. Set the phone down without responding. I'm not angry anymore. Anger requires caring what they think, what they feel, whether they understand. I've spent 29 years translating myself into a language they refuse to learn. I'm just free. Beckett steps onto the porch, draping a warm blanket across my shoulders. He settles beside me, our thighs touching, and we sit in the kind of silence that only happens when you've stripped drywall together at 2 a.m, when you've made 1,000 small decisions about paint colors and cabinet hinges, and whether to keep the original banister the lighthouse beam sweeps past again. 1 rotation, 2, 3. I used to think being invisible to them meant I wasn't loved. I whisper. Now I realize being invisible to them means I'm finally safe. Beckett kisses my temple. His lips warm against my skin. The waves crash, the lighthouse turns. And for the first time in 29 years, Ella Cook isn't fixing anyone's problem but her story too. After 11 years building my family's restaurant into a local gem, my parents replaced me with my MBA-toting little brother. 9 days later, they lost an $850,000 deal I had landed and then came begging for my help. The award plaque slips from my fingers as I stand frozen in the doorway of Riverside Ember's private dining room. The glass trophy crashes against the polished hardwood floor, the crack echoing like a gunshot through the silence. No one even flinches. Their eyes remain fixed on the projection screen where my brother's PowerPoint presentation glows with corporate confidence. Riverside Ember Expansion Strategy. CEO, Caleb Morgan. CEO Caleb Morgan. My throat constricts as I scan the faces around our antique mahogany table. My father's proud smile. My mother's hands clasped in anticipation. And my brother's perfectly pressed suit as he stands at the head of the table. My table. The place I've occupied for over a decade of family meetings. Joy Dad says, clearing his throat. You're late. We've already started the annual meeting. Annual meeting? My voice sounds distant to my own ears. You moved it up 2 weeks. The restaurant's 15th anniversary celebration is tomorrow. I've been finalizing details all morning. Caleb clicks to the next slide, which is exactly why we need to formalize the transition now. The celebration provides the perfect announcement opportunity. Transition. The word tastes bitter. Mom leans forward. Honey, we've transferred operational control to Caleb. Effective immediately. We wanted to surprise you. Congratulations, I whisper. But no one hears me over the sound of my world shattering. Just last week, I stood under the spotlights at the Portland Culinary Excellence Awards, accepting Seafood Dish of the Year for my king crab with tangerine glaze. The audience had erupted in applause. But at our celebration dinner afterward, my parents had merely picked at their food. It's nice, Joy, Dad had said, swirling his wine. But not scalable. We need to think bigger. Meanwhile, they'd raised their glasses to Caleb, toasting his business school network and fresh perspectives. Never mind that while he visited during summer breaks, I spent countless nights perfecting recipes, building relationships with local suppliers, and doubling our revenue over the last 5 years. Now I grip the back of a chair to study myself. You can't be serious. I have a culinary degree. I built our marketing strategy. I doubled our revenue, and we appreciate that, honey. Dad's tone drips with condescension. You're fantastic in the kitchen, but Caleb understands business. You can still be our head chef. Head chef. As if I haven't been running this entire operation for years while they semi-retired to their lake house. As if the awards, the glowing reviews, the loyal customers who know me by name mean nothing. My hands stop trembling as clarity washes over me. I reach into my pocket, remove my restaurant keys, and place them deliberately on the table with a metallic clink. I'm not just your chef. I built this brand. Caleb sighs dramatically. See, Dad, this is exactly what I warned you about. She's too emotional about business decisions. Dad frowns. Joy, you need to understand. This isn't personal. It's about scaling the business. Not personal. I laugh. The sound's sharp and unfamiliar. You blindsided me during the anniversary celebration I organized. You didn't even consult me about changes to the restaurant I've poured my heart into for 11 years. That's enough. Mom cuts in. Caleb has an MBA. He knows what he's doing. And there it is, the familiar pattern. They automatically side with Caleb, dismissing my concerns as emotional overreactions rather than legitimate business insights. It's not just my position at risk, but my culinary reputation, the quality standards I've established, the relationships I've nurtured with suppliers and customers. As I look at them huddled together, a realization crystallizes in my mind. They've never seen me as an equal partner. To them, I've always been staff, the reliable worker who keeps things running while they make the real decisions. You know what I say, my voice steadier than I feel. Maybe you're right. Maybe Caleb should take over. Their faces relax with visible relief. But remember this moment. I continue stepping back toward the door. Because when you realize what you've thrown away, don't expect me to pick up the pieces. I turn and walk out, leaving behind the shattered award that suddenly means nothing at all. Later that night, I only meant to grab my apron from the office, not to discover the depth of my brother's treachery. But there it is on Caleb's open laptop, the West Shore Grand Hotel's logo glaring from his screen like an accusation. My vision narrows as I read the email, my fingers gripping the doorframe to study myself. Dear Mr. Morgan, we acknowledge your cancellation of Thursday's contract meeting. While we're disappointed to postpone discussions on the $850,000 catering partnership, we look forward to your presentation of streamlined, cost-effective alternatives to the original menu proposal. The floor seems to tilt beneath me. That meeting wasn't Caleb's to cancel. I'd spent 6 months cultivating that relationship, designing seasonal menus, calculating exact food costs that would maintain our quality while ensuring their profit margins. $850,000, nearly a quarter of our annual revenue dismissed with a single email. I scroll down, nausea building as I read further regarding your inquiry about modifying the award-winning seafood offerings. We're open to alternatives, provided they maintain the standard of excellence we experienced during our initial tasting with Chef Joy. The betrayal runs deeper than I imagined. Just 3 weeks ago, Caleb had leaned over my station notebook in hand, asking detailed questions about my tangerine glaze recipe. Just trying to learn from the best, he'd said with that boyish grin that always worked on our parents. Now I understand he wasn't learning. He was plotting. My hands shake with an anger so profound, it feels like another presence in the room. 6 years of culinary school, 11 years of 60-hour weeks. Also, my brother could swoop in with his MBA and his PowerPoint slides and dismantle everything I've built. The next morning, I pushed through the service entrance of Riverside Ember 30 minutes before the supplier meeting, I wasn't invited to attend. The kitchen staff exchange worried glances as I pass, their whispers following me down the hallway. I pause outside the private dining room, listening to Caleb's confident tenor. The door is slightly ajar, giving me a clear view of the antique mahogany table, where Marcus, our fishmonger of 8 years, sits with a deep furrow between his brows. Beside him is Eleanor, whose family farm has provided our produce since before I joined the restaurant. Across from them sits Caleb in a charcoal suit that still has the tailor's chalk marks visible at the cuffs. The premium seafood orders are simply unsustainable at our current scale, Caleb is saying, sliding glossy folders across the table. We'll be transitioning to a more consistent supplier with nationwide distribution. Marcus clears his throat. Chef Joy specifically chose our products because we can guarantee same-day catch. Your customers will taste the difference. Our customers are looking for value and consistency, Caleb counters smoothly. Similarly, Eleanor will be consolidating our produce orders through Portland Restaurant Supply. Their volume discounts will substantially improve our margins. Eleanor's weathered hand tightens around her mug. Those tomatoes you love come from my southeastern field. They get morning sun, but afternoon shade. That's why they're sweeter than anything you'll get from a wholesale distributor. I can't stay silent any longer. I push the door open and 3 heads swivel toward me. Joy. Caleb's smile doesn't reach his eyes. This is a private meeting with my suppliers. I counter, moving to stand behind Marcus and Eleanor, the people who've helped build our reputation for quality. Caleb sighs dramatically. My sister is having trouble adjusting to the new direction. Please direct all questions to me going forward. What new direction, I ask, reaching for the folder in front of Marcus. Inside are mock-ups of new menus. My award-winning king crab with tangerine glaze is gone. So is my cedar plank salmon with huckleberry reduction. In their place are generic descriptions: grilled seafood platter and fish of the day. You're standardizing the menu. I say the word sour in my mouth for chain expansion. We're creating scalable systems. Caleb corrects, standing to reassert his authority. Dad and Mom agree it's the right move. The stakes crystallize in my mind with perfect clarity. This isn't just about my job. It's about everything I've built. My culinary reputation, the loyal customers who come specifically for my seasonal creations, and now the $850,000 West Shore Grand contract that could have secured our financial future while maintaining our standards. Marcus, I say quietly, what will happen to your business without our orders? The fishmonger shakes his head. We'll survive, but I've got 2 boats that fish primarily for Riverside Ember. I'll need to let one captain go. Eleanor adds, and I've been expanding my heirloom varieties based on your menu plans, Joy. If you're not buying, I'll have to plow under half my crops this season. Caleb clears his throat. These are unfortunate but necessary business adjustments. Speaking of adjustments, Jovi, we should discuss your compensation package. The head chef position doesn't warrant executive-level pay. The final insult lands like a physical blow. 11 years of 60-hour weeks building this restaurant's reputation. And now I'm facing a demotion and pay cut, while watching everything I've created being dismantled for the sake of scalable systems. Later that evening, after everyone has gone, Daniel finds me in the kitchen methodically packing my personal knives. The kitchen staff is with you, he says quietly, his voice steady after 8 years as my sous chef. Whatever you decide to do, we believe in your standards, not his. As I wrap my favorite sanku knife in protective cloth, the question weighs heavy on my mind. Should I stay and fight for the business I helped build, or walk away completely and start fresh? Fighting meant painful daily confrontations with my family, but leaving meant abandoning everything I'd worked for over a decade. What would you do when the people who should value you most fail to see your worth? 2 days later, the staff meeting invitation appears in my inbox with the subject line menu overhaul. Implementation, mandatory attendance. I read it twice, my jaw tightening. Caleb has scheduled it during prep time when he knows I'm busiest. The conference room buzzes with nervous energy when I slip in 5 minutes late, hands still damp from prepping vegetables. Caleb stands at the head of the table, my spot. His tailored suit a stark contrast to my flour-dusted chef's coat. Perfect timing, Joy. I was just explaining our exciting new direction. Caleb clicks to the next slide, revealing a streamlined menu stripped of my signature dishes. We're implementing these changes effective tomorrow. But the king crab with tangerine glaze is our most requested dish. Lauren, our lead server, protests. We have regulars who come specifically for it. Caleb's smile tightens. The new menu prioritizes efficiency and scalability. We can't be held hostage to one chef's specialties. One chef. Like I'm just another employee instead of the person who built this restaurant's reputation. The changes hit like a tsunami. Within days, regular customers begin questioning servers about missing favorites. Mrs. Abernathy, who celebrated her anniversary here for 8 years, leaves without ordering when told the halibut with preserved lemon is no longer available. What happened to the quality becomes a common question. And Caleb's response is always the same. Blame the kitchen staff, not his decisions, not his leadership. The execution in the back of house isn't meeting our standards. I overhear him telling the Millers' longtime patrons who sent back their overcooked steaks. Lauren's face burns with embarrassment as she apologizes for food she knows isn't what it should be. The final blow comes when Portland Plate, the city's most respected food blog, publishes a review titled, "Has Riverside Ember Lost Its Flame?" The writer, who'd previously praised my innovative approach to traditional American cuisine, now questions whether the restaurant has abandoned its commitment to quality in favor of mass appeal. Inside the kitchen, the sabotage continues. I arrive one morning to find my specialty equipment. The custom smoker, the imported mandolin, the precision thermometers relocated to storage. In their place stand 3 identical deep fryers. "Where's my equipment?" I demand. Caleb said we need more fryer capacity for the new appetizer menu. Daniel explains, not meeting my eyes. Your stuff is in the storage closet by the loading dock. Each night I lie awake staring at the ceiling, mentally recreating recipes I've spent years perfecting. For the first time since culinary school, cooking feels like a burden rather than a joy. The kitchen, once my sanctuary, has become a battleground where every dish is a potential conflict. The staff walks on eggshells, caught between loyalty to me and fear of unemployment. When I instruct the line cooks to finish the salmon with compound butter, Caleb countermands the order. Moments later, the recipe says olive oil only. He announces loudly, "We need consistency, not improvisation." But cooking isn't manufacturing. It's art and science and intuition all wrapped together. Caleb's standardization strips away everything that makes food worth creating. After one particularly grueling service where 3 tables sent back Caleb's version of my scallop dish, I retreat to the walk-in cooler, pressing my forehead against the cold metal shelving. Tears of frustration threaten, but I refuse to let them fall. That night, I start documenting everything: recipes, techniques, supplier relationships in a leather-bound journal. If I can't preserve my kitchen, I'll at least preserve my culinary legacy. The next evening, after everyone has gone home, I find a small tangerine placed precisely at my station. Beneath it lies a handwritten note in Daniel's unmistakable scroll. Your recipes, your vision. Some things can't be replaced even by an MBA. For the first time in weeks, I smile. The breaking point comes during prep for the West Shore Grand Executive Dinner. The kitchen thrums with tension as staff rush to prepare for the most important service since Caleb took over. The $850,000 contract hangs in the balance. I'm adjusting the seasoning on the sauce reduction when my father appears in the doorway, Caleb at his shoulder. "Joey, we need to talk about tonight's menu." Dad says, his voice carefully modulated. "Caleb has some concerns about your preparations." "My preparations are exactly what won us this opportunity in the first place," I reply, not looking up from the simmering pot. "Joey, you need to accept that Caleb's in charge now," Dad says, stepping closer. "This is business, not personal." The wooden spoon freezes in my hand. Everything about food is personal. That's why people come back. They don't connect with efficiency. They connect with passion. The West Shore people want to see scalable concepts, Caleb interrupts, not fancy one-offs that only you can execute. His words crystallize everything wrong with their vision. They don't want a restaurant. They want a production line. They don't want my food. They want something anyone could make. You know what I realized? I say, setting down the spoon and untying my apron. We don't share the same values anymore. You see food as a commodity. I see it as an experience. Don't be dramatic. Dad says we're talking about a business decision. No, we're talking about my life's work. I face them both squarely. I'm not going to watch you destroy what I've built. I quit, and I'm taking my recipes with me. The kitchen falls silent. Even the hood vents seem to hold their breath. You can't quit. Caleb sputters. Not tonight. Not with West Shore coming. Watch me. I haven't even reached the door when Daniel steps forward. If Chef Joy is leaving, so am I. 3 more cooks remove their aprons. The sous chef, the pastry chef, the line lead my people, my team. Later that evening, my phone buzzes with a text from Eleanor, my produce supplier. Wherever you land, your special ordering arrangement comes with you. Quality recognizes quality. For the first time, I allow myself to envision something new, not fighting for scraps of respect in my family's restaurant, but building something truly mine. That night, I sketch concepts for my own restaurant in the margins of my recipe journal. The page is filled with possibilities rather than grievances. The next morning, I make 2 calls. First to Anthony Vicente, West Shore Grand's culinary director, requesting a private meeting. The second call surprises even me. As I clear out my office, a business card falls from my desk calendar. Marianne Wells, restaurant space realtor. We'd met at a Chamber of Commerce event months ago, and she'd mentioned a prime location opening in the Pearl District. I pick up my phone, my fingers steady as I dial her number. Marianne. It's Joy Morgan. I think I'm ready for that space we discussed. A week later, my portfolio slides across the polished mahogany table toward Jason Mercer, whose weathered hands have funded 3 of Portland's most successful restaurants. The morning light streams through, Florida-ceiling windows illuminating the conference room of Portland First Capital. I followed your work at Riverside Ember for years. Jason says, studying my king crab with tangerine glaze photo, your flavor combinations are remarkable. I straighten my burgundy blazer, channeling confidence I've rebuilt over the past week. My vision is modern American cuisine featuring sustainable local ingredients. The dishes that won awards weren't flukes. They were the culmination of relationships with suppliers who understand my standards. Jason nods appreciatively. Most chefs talk ingredients. You talk relationships and systems. That's refreshing. I've prepared for this moment, meticulously rehearsing my pitch while designing my business plan into the early hours. The separation from Riverside Ember burns fresh, but determination has replaced the initial shock. I won't just recreate what worked before I explain turning to the financial projections. I've identified exactly where costs can be trimmed without compromising quality. Before I finish my presentation, Jason leans forward. I'll back you. Your portfolio speaks for itself, but your clarity about lessons learned from the family business tells me you're ready to lead. How soon can you secure a location? A weight lifts from my shoulders. Actually, I found a space in the Pearl District. The previous restaurant closed 3 months ago. Fully equipped kitchen. Excellent foot traffic. Jason raises an eyebrow. Impressive preparation. 2 hours later, I stand in the empty restaurant space negotiating terms with the property manager. Sunlight spills through windows that will soon showcase Joy's hearth to passers-by. Each decision feels like reclaiming a piece of myself. Back at my apartment, my phone buzzes with a text from Daniel. Disaster at West Shore Grand Meeting. Execs not happy. Caleb sweating bullets. I pour a glass of Pinot Noir, savoring both the flavor and the news. The meeting Caleb hijacked from me has apparently gone exactly as I predicted. Daniel calls an hour later. You would have laughed, he says, his voice hushed. Caleb tried serving your tangerine glaze, but it was nothing like yours. Too sweet, weird consistency. He added too much sugar to compensate for using inferior tangerines. I reply, knowing my brother's tendencies. The executives noticed immediately. One of them actually asked where you were. Daniel chuckles. They cut the meeting short, saying they needed to reconsider certain aspects of the partnership. Caleb looked like he might throw up. I lean back in my chair, staring at the ceiling. And the fallout chaos. Caleb's calling every supplier, trying to figure out what's wrong with the ingredients. But Eleanor's not answering his calls. And Marcus told him the premium seafood he's been getting was based on your relationship. Relationships take years to build, I murmur. That's not all, Daniel continues. 3 corporate events canceled today. Word spreading about quality issues. Your parents look shell-shocked. The news should feel more satisfying than it does. Instead, I feel a complicated tangle of vindication and sadness for the restaurant's reputation I worked so hard to build. My phone beeps with an incoming call. Mom. I let it go to voicemail, then listen. Joy. Honey, please call us back. The West Shore Grand Dinner is next week and we need your help. The family needs you. Please. Her voice cracks on the final plea. I press my forehead against the cool window glass, watching traffic below. When my mother called that evening, tearfully asking me to save the family by helping with the West Shore Grand Dinner, I hesitated. Would returning to help preserve what I'd built show strength, or would it simply enable more of the same behavior that pushed me out? The next morning, Daniel arrives at my apartment with a folder. Thought you might want these, he says, sliding a stack of papers across my kitchen counter. Daily revenue reports, reservation numbers, customer complaints. They're spiraling. I flip through the documents, noting the sharp decline. They'll blame external factors. They're trying, but the numbers don't lie. Daniel leans against the counter. The kitchen staff is with you. Just say the word. Later, Eleanor introduces me to specialty farmers from the Willilt Valley, who can supply Joy's hearth with heirloom vegetables unavailable to larger restaurants. We walk between rows of rainbow chard, the morning dew still clinging to the leaves. These families have been farming for generations. Eleanor explains, they're excited about working with a chef who appreciates their craft. Marcus calls while I'm driving home. Joy. I've got a shipment of Alaskan king crab coming next week. Premium quality. And I'm having dinner with Thomas Reynolds tomorrow night. I nearly swerve. The Thomas Reynolds from Coastal Ventures. The very same. He's looking to invest in a new restaurant concept. I might have mentioned your name. The pieces fall into place faster than I dared hope. With Marcus's seafood connections, Eleanor's produce network, and Daniel's insider information, I can accelerate my timeline by weeks. That afternoon, I receive an email that makes my hands tremble. West Shore Grand executives requesting a meeting to discuss my independent culinary concepts. They've found me. Meanwhile, Riverside Ember's social media pages fill with questions. Where's Chef Joy? Is she coming back? One review's food quality has declined dramatically, missing the previous chef's touch. My father's voicemails grow increasingly desperate. Jovi, this West Shore contract is critical for our expansion. Please reconsider. We can talk about your position. The crack in their facade widens with each passing day. Pride crumbles under the weight of consequences, revealing the truth I've always known. They need me far more than I need them. I stand in the empty space that will become Joy's hearth, envisioning the future taking shape. A future built on respect, quality, and my unwavering standards. For the first time, since walking out of Riverside Ember, I smile without reservation. A week later, the sight of my father's Lexus pulling up outside my new restaurant space sends a wave of satisfaction through me. For once, they're coming to me. I stand in the doorway watching as all 3 emerge. Dad with his shoulders unnaturally stiff. Mom glancing nervously at the for lease sign now sporting a bold pending sticker. And Caleb trailing behind an uncharacteristic silence. Joy, Dad, attempts a warm smile that doesn't reach his eyes. This is interesting. A bit small compared to Riverside, isn't it? I don't respond, simply holding the door open. The construction dust hangs in the afternoon sunlight streaming through the windows. Exposed brick walls and reclaimed wood flooring create exactly the atmosphere I've envisioned. We've been trying to reach you. Mom says, her fingers worrying at her pearl necklace. The restaurant needs you. Caleb clears his throat. We've developed a new proposal. He pulls out a leather portfolio. Equal partnership between us. You handle the kitchen. I manage the business side, with us retaining final decision authority. Dad adds quickly for continuity. When I don't immediately respond, his tone shifts. The family legacy is at stake. Joy. Don't you care about what Grandpa built? What we've all built together? Mom steps closer, her voice softening. We're offering you what you wanted. Why are you being so stubborn? I walk to the makeshift desk in the corner where my laptop sits open. You know what's interesting? You never once asked what I actually wanted. I turn the screen toward them, revealing my business plan, and now it's too late. Their confused expressions fuel something warm in my chest. I secured my own funding 2 weeks ago. The lease is signed. I pull out a folder and remove a document with the West Shore Grand logo emblazed across the top. And this arrived yesterday. And this Dad snatches it, eyes widening as he reads. This is a letter of intent for partnership. $500,000 exclusive arrangement featuring my signature dishes. I can't help the pride in my voice. They were quite interested in working with the actual chef behind the award-winning menu, not a corporate substitute. You can't do this, Caleb stammers. The West Shore deal was ours. It was mine. I cultivated that relationship for 3 years. I moved to the center of the room. I didn't want partnership. I wanted respect, and I found investors who give me both. From another folder, I withdraw a stack of papers and hand them to my father. These might interest you too. He flips through the printouts, color draining from his face. Online reviews of Riverside Ember since my departure. Quality has plummeted. Not the same restaurant. Where's the chef who made this place special? Mom peers over his shoulder, her hand covering her mouth. I walk past them toward the kitchen area, gesturing at the space around us. The hood ventilation goes in. Next week we're keeping the open kitchen concept but expanding the chef's counter to seat 12. I ignore their attempts to interject. The wine program will feature small local vineyards, and we're installing a wood-fired oven there. Dad's face reens. You're making a mistake. The Riverside Ember name has recognition. People know us. Maybe. I was never building your brand. I was building mine. The truth feels liberating. People came for my food, not your name. That's what you never understood. The front door chimes, and 2 men in coveralls enter, carrying a large package. Delivery for Joy Morgan. Perfect timing, I say. Signing for the package. The men carefully unwrap it, revealing a copper sign with hand-mirrored letters. Joy's Hearth. The men hold it, up against the exposed brick wall above, where the entrance to the dining room will be. Soft copper glows in the afternoon light. You'll lose everything, Caleb says, but his voice wavers. I already did. 11 years of work. My family's trust. I turn to face him fully. But I'm building something better. Caleb's perfect composure finally cracks. We can't recreate your dishes. Nothing tastes the same. The seafood supplier won't even return my calls. That's because cooking isn't a business formula. It's a relationship with the food and the people you serve. I run my hand along the reclaimed wood counter. You can't quantify passion or scale personal connection. When they leave, shoulders slumped in defeat, I stand in the center of my space, my restaurant, my future. The satisfaction is deeper than I expected. 2 weeks later, Daniel forwards me an email about Riverside Ember seeking a bridge loan to cover operational shortfalls. Regular customers have been drifting away, and rumors spread about a complete menu overhaul in a desperate bid to rebrand. The family question remains unresolved. My phone shows 3 missed calls from Mom just today, but I'm not ready to answer. Not yet. There's too much to do, too much at stake. On the night of Joy's Hearth soft opening, I weave between tables filled with food critics, loyal former customers, and industry friends. The kitchen hums with the beautiful chaos I've created, executing my vision precisely as I imagined. Near closing, I emerge for a final greeting round when I spot her, my mother, sitting alone at a corner table, a half-finished plate of my king crab with tangerine glaze before her. Our eyes meet across the room, and for the first time in months, I see something beyond the disappointment and manipulation. Recognition. 6 months later, the copper saucepan sings against the flame as I reduce the tangerine glaze, no longer needing to justify my decision to triple the fresh fruit or the splash of bourbon I add on instinct. Behind me, 3 line cooks move with practiced precision, their knives flashing as they prep for tonight's service. Chef, we're ready for the tasting menu review. Daniel calls now my executive sous chef, rather than just an ally in a kitchen that never truly valued either of us. I nod, allowing myself a moment to admire the gleaming expanse of Joy's Hearth, my restaurant, my vision, my rules. The fall menu changes. I've planned, celebrate local harvests rather than compromising with frozen substitutes. Caleb would have insisted upon. The seasonal rotation has become our hallmark, drawing praise from critics who once barely knew Riverside Ember existed. Coming, I answer, wiping my hands on my apron as I move toward the prep station where Zoe, a culinary student I've taken under my wing, anxiously awaits my verdict on her sauce work. The consistency is perfect, I tell her, remembering how my mother once dismissed my first reduction as too fussy, I add. Now tell me why you chose thyme instead of rosemary. Her explanation shows promise. This is how mentorship should feel. Not dismissal dressed as guidance, but genuine investment in someone's growth. Later, my phone buzzes with another reservation request. We're booked solid through December with food critics from Chicago and New York requesting tables. National press attention has turned our corner of Portland into a destination, vindicating every sleepless night spent perfecting recipes in my tiny apartment kitchen after leaving my family's restaurant. The afternoon mail brings an envelope from the American Culinary Federation. Inside, an invitation to next month's award ceremony, where Joy's Hearth is nominated for Restaurant of the Year. The same ceremony where just 18 months ago I stood clutching an award while my parents whispered about my brother's business acumen. When the announcement comes at the gala, I don't drop the plaque in shock like last time. Instead, I accept it with steady hands, the spotlight warm on my face as I thank my team by name, Daniel, Eleanor, who still supplies our produce, Marcus, whose seafood makes our signature dishes possible, and every cook who believed enough to follow me. Success isn't just about proving others wrong, I tell the audience, my voice carrying confidence I've earned through fire. It's about proving yourself right. Back at the restaurant, we gather after closing. Eleanor brings champagne while Marcus proudly displays the first advanced copy of my cookbook. Daniel uncorks the bottle with a satisfying pop. Filling glasses around our family table, the one where staff meals are shared, not where decisions are dictated, to building something that truly reflects who we are. I toast not who others think we should be. Their glasses rise in response, light catching the bubbles inside. The next morning, spread across my desk, 5 different expansion offers from luxury hotels sit alongside an invitation to judge the Pacific Northwest Culinary Competition. My grandfather's weathered photo watches from its frame beside my awards, his original diner that started it all, before business plans and MBAs entered our family vocabulary. A knock at my office door reveals Caleb, resume in hand here, for the operations director interview I agreed to after our mother's tearful intervention at Christmas. As I consider whether to bring my brother into my business, I wonder if some family relationships can be rebuilt on new foundations, or if some bridges once burned should stay crossed. Would you give someone who betrayed you professionally a second chance if they showed genuine change, or is business and family best kept permanently separate? Sometimes the biggest favor someone can do is underestimate you. It forces you to truly value